Hi everyone, I'm Vicki with avante-avenue and this is my podcast, ReSELLer Recap, episode number 2. This is in addition to the other type of videos that I produce on my channel, avante-avenue. It is not in place of. In this episode, we're going to talk about how much inventory is enough. What do you think? In other words, is your profit pile becoming a procrastination pile? Do you have far more inventory than you can possibly list in the next few months, the next few years? How much inventory is enough? I'm also going to give you an update of our sourcing activity this last weekend since we're talking about inventory. As far as customers, I did decline a return this week and I thought I'd share that with you. I have a BOLO for you, be on the lookout, something that we sold that I think you might want to keep your eyes open for. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost of my shipping supplies. That recent video that I put out where I sold the 4 wine glasses and the 6 goblets, someone made a comment on that video making a statement as to how much I must have spent in my packing and shipping supplies. And I just want to talk about that and share with you what it did cost. And we'll see what else we can get into. As to Mark and I going out sourcing, we did manage to stay away from the Goodwill store, which was pretty amazing. But we did spend Friday and Saturday going out to garage sales. We actually found an estate sale that was outside, so it's kind of an estate garage sale. And the people having it had zero emotional connection to the items that they were selling. And it was not an estate sale company. So we made out pretty good at this sale. Got lots of inventory. And yes, we're going to talk about inventory. And we did buy inventory. We did. Did you get out sourcing last week? And I'd love to know where your favorite place is to source. I know a lot of people like to shop the Goodwill. Personally, I like the Goodwill, but I love garage sales and church sales. So where did you go this week? What did you find? Did you find a BOLO this week? Something that we should all be on the lookout for. And I mentioned that I was going to talk about a BOLO, and that BOLO is Elmo. And I'm going to pop up on the screen, even though this is a podcast, I'm going to show you the BOLO. I'm referring to the Let's Dance Elmo. Mark found one at the Goodwill. We paid $3.99 for it, and it sold for full asking price of $49.98 plus shipping. So it was a really nice sale, and of course, paying $3.99, we did pretty good. I checked eBay and I checked Google Shopping to see how many are out there. I found out that someone is selling 2 of these on Walmart for $103, and overall, they're going, if they're new, they've been selling from $35 to $49, as I said, $50, and pre-owned up to about $26. So if you spot a Let's Dance Elmo, especially new in box, and the price is right, I suggest you buy it up because I think it's going to be very popular this fall, this Christmas. I don't even know how old this particular one was. It might have been out there for years, but people are looking for it. I think I drove Mark nuts playing the music over and over.
La 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 la. La 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 la, Elmo's world.
We're all kids at heart. Another BOLO is Fenton. I found a little aqua blue owl figurine, Fenton glass, at a church rummage sale just a few weeks ago. I paid $4 for it, and that's paying up for me, $4. And again, I'll pop a photo up on the screen so you can see what it looks like. I checked sold comps on eBay and they've been selling for around $35 to $39. Because there were none available, I priced mine at $49.95 and it did sell at full asking price. So don't be afraid if you have the only one out there and you know that it's something people are looking for, to bump your price up an extra $10. So I was very pleased to sell that for $49.95. A Fenton aqua blue owl. It's very small, about 3 inches tall, so I guess you could say it's a paperweight. I'd like to talk about a request for a return that I had this week. Everyone runs their business differently, and in our store, avante-avenue, we have no returns. Yes, I know there's no such thing as no returns on eBay, but it was a pair of shoes, a pair of Clark's women's shoes, and the shoes were delivered on August 9th, and 20 days later, I received a request for return for the reason of too tight, need a wider fit. and eBay tells me you do not have to accept the return. It didn't take very long for me to decide not to accept the return. If the shoes didn't fit and they need a wider fit and they've had them for 20 days, how much you bet they're pretty well stretched out by now. I didn't want the shoes back and I didn't want to refund. It says in the listing, no returns, and so I declined the return. I've been holding my breath ever since, waiting to see if I was going to get negative feedback. It's been about a week, and so far so good. But we all know that a buyer can go to their credit card company and do a chargeback for whatever reason up to 6 months out, and the return could be forced and a refund could be forced. But so far so good, and I'm curious if you have no returns or if you accept returns, and I'm curious as to what you would have done in this situation. They've had the shoe 20 days. If the shoe fits, wear it. Apparently it fit long enough to wear it to find out that it didn't fit, and I declined the return. What would you have done? Leave a comment. Someone recently commented on my package ship video for those 4 Regaska wine glasses and the 6 Imperial green goblets that I did a package ship on. Someone commented about the expense that I must have incurred for all of my packing supplies. And let me go back a few weeks. I did a package ship video a while ago where I shared my cost of my packing materials. You know, the very packing materials that I show you the links for in the description below each of my videos. In that last video that I'm referring to, and I can't tell you which one it is right now, but I had rounded up my expenses. In other words, if it was 0.087 cents, I simply said it was 9 cents. This time, I just left the decimals where they were. I didn't round anything up. I went through all of these items for that particular video. Again, the Regaska wine glasses and the Imperial glass goblets. My large bubble wrap, my small bubble wrap, my air pillows, my tissue paper, my foam wrap. One box was free for the goblets. That was an eBay box. You know, we get free shipping supplies when you have a store. And the box for the wine glasses, the 10 by 10 by 10, cost me 60 cents. My cost for packing materials was $6.33. That includes the box. And I did not include packing tape. I did not include the shipping label. The bottom line is this. I choose to use air pillows and bubble wrap because it's so much lighter than paper. Paper just simply weighs a lot more. And what I want to say on this is that where you buy your supplies and where I buy my supplies, it's obvious that we're going to come up with a different price point per sheet of bubble wrap, per piece of tissue paper, per air pillow. The links that I provide to you below my videos for my packing and shipping supplies, you pay the same thing that I pay. They are affiliate links with Amazon, and I have spent a lot of time trying to find the best price I possibly can for the items that I buy, for the items that I use, for the items that I recommend. When you take this $6.33 and divide it into the sale of the 2 orders for $160, it comes out to 0.0395%. Round it up if you want to 4% is what my supplies cost to ship these items. The way I look at it is I'm willing to do anything it takes to make sure that these fragile items arrive safely to my buyer. Sometimes it costs me a little bit less. It may someday cost me a little bit more. But for these 2 particular sales, I was pretty pleased that it came in just over $6. I invite you and encourage you to compare the cost of the supplies that I use to what you use. And I will tell you this, if you are shopping at your local office supply store or hardware store or U-Haul store, I would imagine that you're paying quite a bit more because I've checked those prices before. And you may not necessarily be getting the same thing that I'm using. I mostly use 1/2 inch large bubble wrap, and most of the bubble wrap, in fact all of the bubble wrap that I have found locally, from Walmart to Lowe's to Home Depot to U-Haul, it's about 3/8. A lot of the air bubbles are partially deflated, and the only breakage that I've had in the last 9 months was last December when I could not get my 1/2 inch large bubble wrap and I had to use locally sourced bubble wrap. So compare apples to apples if you're going to do a price comparison. And again, I encourage you to check out my links below this video. And remember that unless you are counting every single thing that I use, your observation of what it may cost me versus what it really does cost me may not match. The cost of the one set of glasses was $3.99, the other set $8. That comes to $12 plus $6.33 in shipping supplies. I don't think that's too much to invest, $18.33 into a $160 sale. And the buyer paid the shipping. So I don't think that's too bad. And I'd like to thank WhisperJet America for leaving your comments, because that encouraged me to take a second look at this, and I'm glad I did, so thank you. And I hope it's been helpful. If you're going to sell online and ship your items, there's going to be an investment into your packing and shipping materials. There's just no way around it. And I have a secret to tell you. Don't tell anybody, but when I do my calculated shipping for my listings and I'm choosing the weight range, let's say it weighs on my scale before it's boxed 1 pound 8 ounces. Instead of choosing a weight range of 2 to 3 pounds, sometimes I choose 3 to 4 pounds and add an extra pound for those unexpected expenses and to help pay the fees. Shh, don't tell anybody. But yes, building in an extra additional pound for calculated shipping really helps. It helps a lot, but don't tell anybody. And the other thing is, that is no secret, is that on average I charge $6.95 for first class mail, and that can leave up to $2 extra to help pay for those eBay fees and my packing supplies. So there you go. Now let's talk about how much inventory is enough. Has your profit pile become a procrastination pile? Keep listening. How much inventory is enough inventory? Well, I guess that depends. It depends on how much inventory you can afford to buy, how much inventory you can manage, how fast you can list that inventory, how much inventory you can store, and how much help do you have to process all of it. There's a lot of factors that go into how much inventory is enough inventory. What I'm about to share with you in this podcast is my first-hand experience with inventory. Yes, I have more inventory to list than I have time, but here's my story and my take on this subject. And I better insert here, Mark just informed me that if we list 2 banker boxes of inventory a week, we have close to 4 months worth of inventory. So I'm coming at this subject, putting myself out there, and I'm not judging anyone. Who am I to judge? I've got lots of inventory. I'd like to tell you my story, but first I have a question for you. Have you been to Vegas, Las Vegas? I tend to think of selling on eBay as being somewhat like going to Vegas. It's a little bit addictive, and getting an eBay sale and hearing that cha-ching is akin to winning the slot machine at Vegas. Now, I am not much of a gambler, and although I've been to Vegas many times, Vegas has a different meaning for me, and I'm going to share my story with you. Have you been to Vegas? Well, I have been, but not for gambling, not for the shows, although I did try a few slot machines and did see a few shows when we were there, Mark and I, but that wasn't my purpose for going to Vegas. You see, I used to own a home decor store. Home decor, we did interior design, Mark ran the home improvement. We had a beautiful store in Ohio. And after a couple years, we opened up a second store across the street. And I will say that we were in very good plazas. We were in a Target and Kohl's plaza, and we were in a Joann Fabrics plaza, and it even had a Bombay store at that time. So we go back over a decade. So why did we go to Vegas? To shop. That's why we went to Vegas. I was the buyer, the primary buyer for our store. Lucky me, right? Who doesn't love to shop? And so we would fly to Vegas, check into our hotel, peruse the casinos and the restaurants, and walk the strip. But the real fun was shopping. But not on the strip, no. We went to the World Market Center. We shopped there twice a year for 5 days at a time. The main building was 7 stories tall. They had over 4,000 product lines. The place was gigantic. It took 5 days And even with that, you didn't get through everything. You couldn't possibly get through all the showrooms that they had. It was the most exciting time. I met people from ELC, from Trading Spaces, if that doesn't date me a little bit. And it was just fun, pure fun. And a shopping spree. Let's not forget, it was a shopping spree. For 5 days straight, we would go from floor to floor and shop the showrooms for things that we wanted for our retail store. Again, it was home decor, art, accessories, seasonal, holiday, those type of things. And along with the excitement of just being there and shopping, pretty much every showroom would feed us. They had beverages of all kinds, and it was just one big party. I guess if we had a drink, they figured we might spend a little more. Who knows? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But it was a high. Each trip was a shopping spree of a lifetime. Now, mind you, I am footing the bill. I didn't win the lottery, and no one gave me any money to go shopping, so I was footing the bill. But I had a mission, and that mission was to find things to resell. Sound familiar? And so we would place our orders 3 or 4 months ahead of the season, and we would wait for that inventory to be delivered. In addition to going to Vegas, we would go to the Columbus Mart in Ohio. And since that was only 2 hours away, we went there several times a year, and we would shop the showrooms and buy things for the store. If you've never been in retail, let me just say this. You shop in March for Christmas and you receive it in August. And then you got to figure out where to put it until you put it on the floor. I guess that's why retail stores always put things out so early in the season, is because that inventory has been sitting in the stock room for a couple of months. But no matter how much we bought, we could always use more. And yet it never all sold, and we would find ourselves clearancing out the seasonal items to make room for more. There was a never-ending need for fresh and new and seasonal decor. It was never-ending. Just like with eBay, shopping for a retail store was never-ending. But you know, it's fun. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. So how does this tie in with eBay? You've probably heard that it takes at least 5 years for a retail store to get established. And as a store owner with a startup business, I made it my priority to take care of everyone before myself. Meaning, I paid everyone but myself. I paid my staff, my vendors, my bills, and such. And it wasn't cheap. If you've ever owned a brick and mortar, you know what I mean. And I was always reinvesting every extra dollar that I had into more inventory. Just like eBay, you know that selling on eBay means constantly listing new inventory. I call it feeding the beast. You can never put enough inventory on eBay, or at least you have to have some really high-end inventory if you don't have a lot of inventory. And that takes time to figure out what to buy and what to sell. So whether it's brick and mortar or it's eBay, there's a constant need to find inventory, get it processed, and get it listed. And more importantly, get it sold. You know, sourcing is the fun part of reselling. There's a certain high, it's exciting. It's a challenge to find things. Maybe there's a sense of competition when you're in the thrift stores or at a garage sale to find that great item before somebody else picks it up. There's a thrill. There's a thrill of the hunt. And a new term that's being thrown around these days is FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. If I don't go to the church sale or the garage sale or the neighborhood sale or the Goodwill store or the thrift store, what am I missing? There's a feeling sometimes, I think, for a lot of resellers, I don't speak for all, but for a lot of resellers, I think there's this fear of missing out, and so we go. We stop what we're doing, and we go shopping. Besides that, shopping is a reward. It's a reward for working so hard. I know I use it that way. I often tell Mark, listen, I've worked for 5 days straight. I need to get out of the house, get some sunshine, go to garage sales, go to church sales, whatever. I need to get out. To me, it's a reward for working hard. And when we had the COVID lockdown last year and we couldn't get out and shop for quite a while, I think that's kind of in the back of my mind that I want to make sure I have plenty of inventory should heaven forbid we have another lockdown. And of course, as a reseller, we never want to run out of inventory. That would be horrible to run out of inventory. And of course, my own personal excuse, I need video footage to make YouTube videos. So of course I need to go shopping. Of course I do. There can come a point though, when too much inventory can become pressure. After first sight of finding the item, the excitement can wane. And when you store it out of sight, in a closet, in a room, in a box where you don't see it, it can also become out of sight, out of mind. And then the buying cycle, with all the excitement, repeats itself. And we go and we shop and we buy some more. At least I do. I don't know about you, but I do. I love to shop. What can I say? It's in my blood. I'm not a hoarder because I don't buy things to keep. I buy to resell. That's my goal. That's my reason. That's my excuse. That's my purpose. That's my goal. I buy to resell. But when we look at our stockpile of unlisted inventory, here's something I'd like for you to remember. And I'm speaking to myself as well. Remember that we've paid everyone else but ourselves. You paid the Goodwill. You paid the thrift store. You paid the garage sale homeowner, the church sale, the Facebook seller, the flea market seller. We've paid someone else for all those fantastic items that we brought home to resell. The items that we were so excited about when we found them, that we couldn't wait to get listed, but somehow they end up in the corner of the room. But the bottom line is, we have paid someone else for those goods that are just sitting there waiting to be processed and listed for sale. Remember, we're called resellers for a reason. We're not just buyers, we're resellers, and it can't sell itself. We saw dollar signs when we first saw it, and now we just need to see dollar signs when we sell it. Those boxes and bags full of items that we purchased last week, last month, or last year, those purchases are more than future inventory. They're our paycheck. They're my paycheck. They're your paycheck. Those items are more than just inventory. We don't get paid until we sell it. And we have to photograph it and list it to sell it. Maybe it's time to turn that procrastination pile into a profit pile. And finally, pay yourself. And if you do already pay yourself, think of it as a bonus for all your hard work and get it listed. I'm going to leave it there for today. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I'll see you soon.